Hello! So today what we're going to be doing is working on a wonderful little... The power went out. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Now that we can see what we're doing, what we're going to work on today here is talking about... Nah, I'm just kidding. Move this all out of the way. What we're actually talking about is this little guy. It is a... Well, what did they describe it as? An emergency flashlight. Recharge by squeezing. It's charged forever. Non-replaceable rechargeable battery, easy to use, great for home, car, and more. Yes, use it everywhere. And green bar. Okay. So, this is one of those little things that you can recharge, and it's a light. I haven't really tested much of the performance yet, but it's in this lovely, attractive purple case. I believe there's multiple colors. And they're actually... Oops, wrong button. And they're actually using 2 LEDs in it, so it actually will last longer than about 10 seconds. Anyway, should probably take this apart. It's never going to go back together, but we'll take it apart. Oh, that's not the right screwdriver. How useful. This one might work, or I'll have to grab my standard kit. This is the moment where everything goes wrong. Take out the screw. Oh, the front cap's probably supposed to come off first. This might not spring at the moment. Actually, that's probably the most teardown that we really need to do, but I'm all for pain. Whee! Okay. So we've got an all-in-one little lens system here. Terrible binoculars, or kind of loops, or whatever you call it. Or something cute to examine. Here, got a tiny little motor. We'll hold this lens up here and see. Ooh, macro versus not macro. The front piece, you got this large main gear. Let's go ahead and remove, oh, I almost break the wires there. So this is our spring handle. There's actually a metal bar that goes through, so that won't break easily. It's a 2-piece construction for the handle bit. Fairly average little spring thing. Alright, here's our little motor assembly. Oh, okay. So we've got this little mechanism that allows it to spin freely in the one direction, but the other direction it actually catches and spins. Kind of a clutch or something, whatever you want to call it. Permanent magnet on the back. Anyway, it's a little motor, basically. You don't see the batteries yet, so we have to actually take it a little bit further. Oh, there's your power switch there. Bright. That's actually incredibly bright. Yep, those are just tiny little 3.5mm LEDs. And this is where it stops working. Now, are these rechargeable, or are they cheating us with non-rechargeable button cells? Do they even come out? Let's use our fake macro we just discovered. Yeah, that's pristine optical clarity. These are definitely not rechargeable. Probably alkaline, or maybe even silver oxide. If AGW is not the brand, then AG would be silver. We can check the battery voltage. We might expect them to be 1.2 volts for typical rechargeables versus 1.5 volts of an alkaline. It's 1.5 or so. There goes one of them. Yeah. So the tops of the batteries are just kind of touching the LED legs. The mechanism's actually pretty smart until you, break it. We've got a little permanent magnet now. And the spring. Oh, almost broke the copper wires. Wow, that is some glue. There we go. So, yep, you can see all the windings down in there. Now you can scavenge this for a tiny amount of copper wire. Hooray! It's just 2 LEDs stuck through there. Looks like they do have some vague form of grease stuff on there to help it spin. That's kind of nice. What do we think that magnet's like permanently in there? The gear is this, that's fairly loose. You can feel that it's got its own form of grease on there. That spins quite free like that by hand with no load. Quite a greasy texture inside the flashlight part, which means, you know, that's nice that they're not just making it bare contact and scraping, and it probably keeps down the noise and such. Quite bright. I guess let's put this back together and do some more testing. Okay, so many an hour have passed, and now it's getting quite dull. Let us see what the voltage is now. 3.29 volts. Yeah, it looks like each cell is right about 0.7 volts or so. Yeah. All right, now let's see if it charges. 0.78. Big time jump cut. Surprise, surprise. All right, playing with the voltage, they're rising. I last said, you know, 0.8 or whatever. I was like, oh, it'll take forever to charge. Let's think about this for a while. First off, if we measure it now in volts, we can look at it and go, wow, okay, 3.97. That means this one cell is 1.33 volts, huh? Okay. Now, so we've had 2 strikes against these batteries being rechargeable. Strike 1, 1.5 volts when they were new versus 1.2 of typical rechargeable batteries. Strike 2 is the fact that they raised in voltage after sitting for a while, and raised by quite a bit. All right, after digging with it and breaking the wire and whatever else, let's draw out the schematic, shall we? Got our batteries. Okay. There's our little positive rail here. Gotta do little diodes. So these are little LED units here. Very cute. All right. Put our little motor here. And now we need our switch. Now, this is where it gets fun, because as I start to draw this, there's a flaw. I'm actually going to put the switch there. Now what that does is quite interesting. You see, the logical thought was the switch would be here, and you'd be switching between batteries to the diodes and batteries to the motor, and the motor charges it, except they're not using a diode in line, and you can't charge a battery on AC correctly. Okay, but what this really does is if we connect a switch here, you can see the positive flows to the LEDs and goes back to the batteries. Cool. No, okay. Let's connect the motor then, the off position. So circuit's broken and the LEDs don't light. The motor, here's the path. The motor stays connected to just the LEDs. When you charge it, it just makes the LEDs flash and does nothing. So these little batteries are just alkaline button cells, and they do not get charged. They're never even connected to a motor, and thus this is a terrible product from a standpoint of you can't recharge it. All of this is built to make you think it's rechargeable, even though it is not. It is a hoax, it is a lie, it is fake. But I guess the good news is once these batteries eventually die, which will take a while, granted, but once they eventually die, you can sit there and crank it and get some brief flashes of light, and we're back to how it was called, a flashlight. Because when flashlights first came out, to gain the name flashlight, the batteries are so terrible and didn't last at all, you would just press a button to briefly get a amount of light. You know, a flash of light. And that makes like a good logical name. Other countries call it a torch because it is similar to that of a flame-burning torch thing, in which it produces constant light, because at this point you can leave flashlights on and use them as a source of constant light. But this is literally, in every sense to mean, a flashlight, because once these batteries die, you only get brief flashes of light. There is no recharge circuit, hoax, scam, whatever you want to say. These batteries are pretty nice. Button cells, they lasted for a couple hours and bounced back a little bit. They're still pretty much dead. They really don't like the LED much, but we can take a look on the oscilloscope to see what the motor outputs, because I do have that recorded. Around 450 hertz is the speed of that motor spinning. Yeah, the volts peak to peak is about 8. So if you want to get a good flashlight from the dollar store, buy the tactical one that I love. I keep talking about these, and they're great. Okay, you have to spend $2, and this only costs $1, and it does light right away. So if you need instant light for only $1, go with this one. Otherwise, get the tactical flashlight. It's like 3-in-1. It's more than it should be. So it takes 3 AAA batteries, and it lasts for a long time. You've got your whitish beam. You've got a very narrow beam. Or if you think beams are stupid and you just want light, unscrew this, and you have just this great ambient. This is the whitest flashlight I've ever seen, because you just stand it up on a surface, because it stands. Look at that, it's standing on a surface, and it's illuminating like the whole room. You can't tell because they got studio lights, but it's illuminating the whole room. It's great. And then, you know, you can, again, if you want just a narrow beam, you can stick the thing back on. You've got your normal, like, concentrated light, or you can, when you're really working on something, you can get the beam quite tiny. Actually, that's a little tinier than I'm used to, but anyway, you can get the beam quite tiny. It's just buy this and buy some batteries. You probably maybe already have batteries. I don't know. Dollar store batteries are great. Don't buy this if you expect this to work in an emergency from a standpoint of it being rechargeable. There's one thing we gotta do to this. There we go. I fixed it. Thanks for watching. See ya.